what do you expect the transaction fees to be
Almost
on
nothing
average?
until it fills up and people start loving it and the price goes to the moon. Like the fees will be very low in the beginning, and then they will very likely tend to increase over time as the value of the network increases, and that's it. Like you're gonna every single blockchain fills up at some point. Yes, we are better than Ethereum. Yes, we are better than Matic. Yes, we are better than BSC. But eventually, one day, the network will fill up. Now, I've already got some more scaling solutions, such as rotating off of Geth to another software that performs the same functions. And that could happen maybe 6 months after launch. You wouldn't want to do it now, but maybe well, I mean, you don't want to do it until you really need the extra throughput. So you can just kind of scale into it. But I've already got a solution that could get us even more throughput by changing things in the software layer. Because there's a lot of decisions that were made that aren't optimal. For instance, level DB was right optimized, but blockchains spend the vast majority of their time doing reads. And so it's just the wrong choice of interior database structure from the beginning. There's all these other optimizations you can make that you just need time and devs to do, and we know what they are, and some people are working on already. So, we've got extra scaling available to us beyond just increasing the block size and decreasing the gas limit or decreasing the block time. So we have other
Right.
scaling things up our sleeves. We'll be lucky to need them. Let's go take over the world and get a zillion billion users, and then we'll need more scaling. It's like taking
Yeah.
steps, right? Like get scaling, add users, scale some more, add users. You got to do both. If you're not adding users, what is this extra bloat from bots? It's all about the users.
Yeah, that is a good point, but it should always be on the base layer. That's the selling
It's
point
the
of this,
best.
is that
It's the best.
yeah.
And to tell you that, I've used some of these 2 token network systems. Someone sends you some token. You're like, great, let me get rid of this thing. Crap, I can't. I have to have this other token. And so now you have to perform 2 transactions for every 1 transaction when you have a dual token system. And that sucks. It sucks. It's part of the same reason why ZK rollups suck. You're like, yeah, you want to get in? You want to get out? All right, that's 2 transactions on the mainnet. Same with Lightning. You want to get in? You want to get out? That's 2 transactions on the mainnet. It sucks. And so a single token system, we know it works. We know it works very well. It works very well for Ethereum. It works very well for Bitcoin. I'm happy with the single token decision, because when we were designing this, we could have gone dual token, and it's just simpler, faster, and more convenient to have 1 token instead of 2.
To me it's all about the user experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we need. So that's why I'm interested. Back to the like our paid example.
Mm-hmm.
Will and the supply. I didn't really get the answer to this.
Well,
Let's just say
you're just gonna have the same coins with the same everything on 2 networks. So your supplies will be the same, your liquid coins will be the same. If you have staking, they'll be the same. It's the exact same bit for Bitcode.
Yep, but I'm just saying, like, is there, so there's 500, let's just say 500 million paid on ERC20
So
and 500
yeah,
million paid on Pulse.
I
Is that
would call the paid on the Ethereum network e-paid, and I would call the paid network on the Pulse, I would call that
paid?
p-paid. Yeah, just to make it easy, And then
Yeah.
I
What,
there's
what
another.
about the value? Is it?
Nobody
It's
knows the
not.
value. The network has
It's
to
not
discover
pegged.
it. It's going to launch at
It's not
nothing.
pegged. It's not pegged like one. Like you don't have to.
Oh
It's
no,
not like you're using.
there's
It's
no
not like you're
peg.
using a bridge. It's not like you're using a bridge.
Nope.
Not like we're using.
You could still
interest.
use a bridge. You could still use a bridge, and people may still use a bridge. And if you're going to arbitrage e-paid versus p-paid, you would probably bridge over the e-paid, and then use the faster, cheaper transactions in the Uniswap on this end to do the arb and figure out the value for e-paid versus p-paid. That will happen on our side because it's cheaper. You could do the other thing. You could bridge p-paid over to the Ethereum network, but nobody tends to do that because it costs too much over there. So another thing.
So basically, we could just see theoretically a mass exodus, like, because
It's
we have to
possible.
decide. We have to decide as a project where we want to, what we want to support, right?
Mhm.
We have to decide, like, I mean, we're probably not going. It doesn't make sense for us to support both. That's weird, probably.
I have no. I mean, I'm going to support both with Hex. You know, I don't want to see cheap Hex anywhere. But if the market decides that they just like the P Hex better, okay. You know, you don't know what the market's going to decide. So, and you know, if you're a founder, you might have more deciding power depending on how your project's structured. Like, there's a lot of projects out there that have admin keys. So for projects that have admin keys, you know, you got to beg that guy to leave the front end up. You got to beg that guy not to steal your money. And then you got to beg that guy, like, hey, can you choose the better network? A lot of begging involved. For me, crypto is about not begging anybody for anything. Permissionless innovation is what cryptocurrency is about for me. I wanted to mention this to you because it's super important. The Uniswap people invented something very cool. They duct taped on the Uni token, which has no relevance to the actual project, which is stupid, unfortunately. But hey, it made people really rich, so fine. Made a lot of hexagons really rich. Hexagons made millions and millions and millions of dollars on that Uniswap airdrop. So thank you for that, guys. People love their duct taped on tokens. The Uniswap project will be receiving more benefit on Pulse because we're rewarding the original founders of things because their keys and their projects work on Pulse. Whereas other things that start empty, like Matic and BSC, make copycats that get rich. So QuickSwap's fork of Uniswap got to get rich on Matic instead of Uniswap. PancakeSwap on BSC got to get rich instead of Uniswap. And how is that a better world? Is it a better world that the copycats get to make all the money? Maybe, but it seems to me like letting the original founder guys have a chance at making some money seems nice because it was their invention, you know? So I think the concept that you're going to have real Uniswap on the Pulse network is pretty awesome. Now, you'll likely also have a bunch of other successful fork things of Uniswap v2. I'm, you know, probably going to make one myself. So, but it's still nice to know that the original Uniswap guys have a chance to compete and make some money on the network. But they're not making anything on BSC, and they're not making anything on Matic.
You are forking Uniswap, right?
Yeah, everything. Well, we're going to fork Uniswap just because basically when the network launches, like a bunch of PRC20s get harvested to equalize the increased supply of the Pulse. So you have to fix the ratios, and then that thing's going to have a bunch of PRC20s, and then it should probably stick them in an automated market maker somewhere. And whether that's Uniswap or something else, you know, Uniswap still does have an admin key that can turn on a 15% tax. So if that transaction's done before they can turn on their tax, then it's okay. But like, I don't really like the risk of them being able to turn on a tax whenever. So I think Uniswap v2 fork with the tax button turn on ahead of time or with no tax is a nice idea.